looked like. I graduated from the University of Santa Clara in California and was supposed to go to Berkeley for graduate school so I could be a teacher, but I knew I could teach, so instead I went to India. This is what you did in the 60s. So, this is the Peace Corps. I went into the Peace Corps, and I came back, and I taught for a while, and then was asked to come and start a reverse Peace Corps kind of international thing out in Columbia, Maryland, because that was the new city, the planned city, and so on. And that place folded after a year, and I thought, well, they were just trying to do it all wrong. So my husband and I came into the city where we worked with different church groups, and we did a reverse Peace Corps on a shoestring. It's a whole grassroots thing, and that's kind of where I came from. So I had no idea about lawyering or being a lawyer. But to start this reverse Peace Corps, I had to get all kinds of permits and this and that. So I was going around to all these offices, check here, check that. And I thought to myself, well, if I were a lawyer instead of just a teacher, I could get this done like snap. I could just do that. So I thought, let's go to law school at night while I'm doing this other thing and having a child and all this stuff. So I did, and I found out too late. I went to Georgetown. And I found out too late that lawyers are most of the problem about some of these regulations that are there that don't seem to have anything to do with getting something done. And, you know, at that time, I was all about getting things done. And like Judge Huvelle, I had no idea about being a judge or anything else like that. I thought, oh, well, just let me get out of this law schools thing. Do that. And in the meantime, I was working with some members of the community and talked with American Security Bank, and I said, look, your application form for small loans for people, consumer loans for people, is just really ridiculous. It's so many pages. Most of the people can't read above a 7th grade level. Could we work on getting this done? This was part of the little institute that I'd started. And so we did. We got it down to a one-page contract. That lasted for as long as that vice president still had his job. And so there was a couple of years. And so that was very empowering. I thought, this is good. Actually, lawyers can do some things. You know, let's harness the power for the good. So I was looking around to do that. And I worked at the Public Defender Service, not as a lawyer, but putting together all the investigators and training law students how to do that, because I've always been a good teacher and enjoyed doing that. Then I went to Antioch Law School to teach there and run the family law clinic. They said, can you teach family law? And of course I had never done it. So what's your answer going to be? This is my passion. I mean, my passion was to help people work together to solve problems. What do lawyers do if you're going to be doing good things? You're going to be helping people solve problems. So I said, well, of course I can do that. And went on to do that. And from there, I've written the book on the domestic relations practice here in the District of Columbia. It's the only book, so if you want to do anything, take a look at that first in the area of domestic relations law. But you find your passion. You work with people who are equally as passionate, and then roads open up, and you decide which one you're going to go down. And at that point, it was one of the judges. Oh, I think I got to where I am by being a pest, because I would be going to court representing people, and I would say, well, this could be different. This could work better. We could do it this way. Why don't we try doing it this way? And so I got on the different committees of the D.C. Bar. I was co-chair of the family law section there. Then I got into the women's bar and Washington Bar Association and the voluntary bar, and kept on going and got all of my friends together who I met at all these places to come in and say, we're going to start a self-help center or a pro se plus divorce center at the Superior Court, because we're having a lot of litigants coming in who can't get representation, and there's no way that the D.C. Bar, even though now we're 90,000 in number, keep that figure in mind, now cannot possibly provide individual representation for people. But people can do it themselves. So let's help them do it themselves. Let's show them how that can work. And so we got a lot of things started in Superior Court. And Superior Court has been in the lead in mediation and in self-help and in pro se litigation. And that was my passion, and I just kept following it. And at one point, some judge said, well, why don't you apply? I said, apply for what? So that's how I applied for magistrate judge, and then also for an associate judge. And I'm still applying. You cannot be faint of heart in this process because it is a mystery. Part of it is astronomy. wherever you don't know where the stars or planets are going to be aligned and which one is in your court. Okay? You're not sure. All I can tell you is that when it does work and you are moving forward and asked to please participate in this particular area of being a lawyer, I call myself a recovering lawyer at this point because I don't get to litigate, and that was so much fun. But this is helping people resolve problems because you have to give the answer to them right then, right there. You don't delay. You don't drag it out. You don't contribute to the delay. This is your chance to be of real service to the public in a way that is visible. And you can also then go into the community, and people want to know, how do the courts work? What can I do to be there? And I still continue to participate in community education programs here, training new members, because my deal was I was a sole practitioner. There are, there was one on the Superior Court. I'm trying to be the second, but we'll see about that in the associate judge position. But the problem is that there's this overwhelming sensibility that crime is a big problem, that we have a gazillion billion criminals out there, and that is the biggest need of the court. And in reality, that is not what the statistics show. So it's helpful to go in with the stats. 47.8% of all of the cases coming in are straight civil. That doesn't include the family court operations, which is 15.9%. Criminal is only 25.8%. On our bench at this point, the associate judge is 88% represent having come from a criminal background, either as a prosecutor or as a defense lawyer. So that kind of drift is still there. And I urge anyone who has a civil law background, who has a passion to help resolve disputes for individuals, and then to not be afraid to make decisions, to apply. We need as big a pool as possible. You do have to keep in mind, though, this is not a cakewalk. It's 90,000 people are members of the D.C. bar. That means 90,000 people pass the bar. That means everybody is basically qualified to be a judge. So that's your competition pool. How many people are going to self-select out and start applying? I don't know.
No, there's some statutory requirements, though. You have to live in the district, and you have to have 10
I was going to tell him that later. I wanted to scare him with the 90,000. I was going to leave something for the commission to do. So
I have a lot to say.
I know you have a lot to say about that, and so. But you need to find your passion, because you need that to carry you through whatever you're going to do as a lawyer in legal work. And being with the women's bar is one big step in the right direction. Thank you.
Sorry. Because the people aren't all qualified.
And it's a great segue into the process. And we want to get a sense of what the nominations process is like, what are the steps in the process for each court, the criteria for nomination, which factors weigh more than others, and what are some of the common disqualifiers that you might see, and how do candidates distinguish themselves. So I'll start with Grace for the D.C. Judicial Nomination Commission.
Thanks, Holly. I want to also thank the turn the mic on. All right, it's on now. I want to thank the Women's Bar Association for having this session tonight, because one of the things that I hope will come through in my comments is that the D.C. Judicial Nominations Commission, and especially under the leadership of our chair, Judge Emmett Sullivan, is really on a mission to recruit people to apply for judgeships on the D.C. Superior Court. I would say the D.C. Court of Appeals, but there are not that many openings that are available in the D.C. Court of Appeals, because we do want to get away from, I guess, the bend that the judge just spoke about in terms of 88% of the folks coming from a criminal background, and I'll talk a little bit about that. The first thing I want to do, because I think it's most important, is I want to introduce our new executive director, Kim Watley, if she would stand up so people can see you. And I say that because Kim, as executive director, is a big resource in terms of answering questions